Hello, you're listening to Me and Paranormal You with your host, Ryan Singer. Because it's more fun to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. This is going to be what I'm calling a Saucy Daddy Party app. We're calling this the Saucy Daddy Party app. Now, I've got Mario Creston here with me. And by having Mario Creston here with me, what I mean by that is Mario Creston has me here with him. We are at the Creston Castle in location unknown. And Mario, good to see you, buddy.
Ryan, I'm so glad that I was able to pull you into my boiling cauldron of ragu. You're right in the ragu, aren't you?
I am so in the ragu, and I've never felt more at home. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been doing this. I'm in the age of exploration, right? Which I decided about, 4 months ago, I think, when a close friend of mine asked me, like, what age are you in? And that's when I just blurted out the age of exploration. So I've been exploring all kinds of things. I'm exploring screwdrivers right now, currently on this particular night, and the keto diet, because I'm doing the keto diet just for shits and giggles to see. I just joined a gym again. I'm trying to get, just trying to feel better, feel juiced up, feel jacked, cracked, and stacked. Now, but you can drink vodka, apparently. So I've had a couple of screwdrivers, and this is why it's the Saucy Daddy Party Hour tonight. So I'm deep in the ragu, is what I mean to say.
I think the high fruit corn syrup in that whatever gas station OJ, I don't think it's on that list. I'm still fat and everything. I got a lot of friends trying to get me on the keto gig and whatever. I could lose about a bill. I've lost a little weight, though, since I played the show last time. But, dude, vodka, I don't think, or OJ. I know that you're like two screwdrivers in. You're like, wait a minute, there's sugar in this OJ. Yeah, what do you think, dude? It's freaking...
Well, the vodka is your clear. Now, you're in the clear. Now, the orange juice definitely has got me jacked up.
The OJ's got you spun for sure, dude. Right as soon as you started saying that, I'm like, dude.
Spun out on OJ.
Oh, you also actually have a full body rash going.
I do.
Dude, your neck, bro.
My neck looks like a strawberry.
I'm poisoning Ryan Singer with my ragu over here. This is his idea. I didn't push the vodka on him. He searched to destroy the vodka. I wasn't even planning on trying to get him to drink. He's always like a Puritan. Normally, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, strangely enough, in my, my latter years, in the last, in the last 10 years, I guess, the alcohol, has been few and far between for me. But, especially after I stopped more than recreationally using drugs.
Right.
Which
we've all stopped that,
Which we've all stopped that.
Right.
And, I mean, I don't think I've been shy on the show as Mario hits a fucking pen in front of me. Now, I don't think I've been shy on this show talking about, my struggles with specifically cocaine abuse and things like that. But I mean, we've all got our struggles. I want to talk to you a little bit about this tonight. I've been, postulating, theorizing, just kind of waxing unpoetically for a while now on the show about, autoimmune disorders, personal trauma, personal suffering, sickness, mystery diseases, just ongoing, long-standing medical issues, etc., and not to mention other personal traumas that people can go through abuse and other things like that, that contribute to an explosion of psychic ability, intuition, empathy, clairvoyance, other paranormal experiences, etc. And I don't know if you want to get into this or not tonight, but I mean, we can.
Absolutely. I mean, you can ask me questions about it. I have several theories, and there are several different categories under that, in which I think I have again, I've been on my whole entire journey on your show has been trying to self-discovery is to try to figure out why is it this kind of a guy that I'm not really a spiritual guy. I'm not educated in all these things that you're, literally from what listening to your show is how I've gotten into all these things like the tarot and bibliomancy, which now I'm huge into. And all these
we got to
things.
talk about something that you've coined that I've never heard about, and we're going to put a pin in that. We're not even going to mention the name yet,
right?
Because the name hasn't even been decided necessarily.
We haven't decided yet, but I think it's the thing. I think everyone will think it's the thing.
And for listeners as a catch up, you can go back and listen to previous episodes with Mario. You can get kind of caught up into the conversation and what we're dealing with now. Previously on the show, we have, I believe, the term did not exist, or at the very least wasn't anywhere close to my purview. And that's nearly 10 years of doing this show and digging into all things weird and wild and woo. I'd never heard the phrase poster magic before, and we talked on the previous episode about poster magic, and that has since evolved into something totally different, and something that is where poster magic is but a small component of a much larger thing. We're going to get into that later. Let's stay on task if we can, even though this is a Saucy Daddy Party app.
Right. But we're with it. We had to chill out, man. It's been a long day, Ryan shows up, I got to tell him 48 stories at the same time, forget what the fuck I'm saying.
While we eat 60 wings.
Ate a bunch of wings, dude. Ryan's on the keto. He's like, I'm thinking, like, well, Ryan's, you got to be a bad influence on Ryan. Like, I was happy with the amount of drinking you did on the Woo weekend we had. You actually drank with me, but I didn't expect you to be busting out the booze and ordering 85 wings. I'm like thinking, this dude probably wants a 6-piece of wings. No, I think 50 or 60 wings would be good for you and Princess Peach, your wife, Like, all right, anyway, don't get me on tangent.
Dude, I'm telling you what, I've been confining myself for a while, and now I'm ready to cut it back loose, bro.
Oh, this is
I'm ready to cut it.
We're going to
back
festival together this weekend. You got to get it. Yeah, you got to get your mind right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, dude. I'm telling you, by the end of that festival, they're gonna be hanging up posters of us.
They are, dude. I thought last time I was gonna be declared the king at the Renaissance Festival before I left, dude. Accidentally. I'm showing back up with Ryan Singer. Long story short, Ryan Singer and I are going on a quest at a festival. I've never been to a Renaissance Festival. I'm sure that every single listener probably has, but has been to one because it's so cool. Everyone I know has been. I've never been. Well, that's a story to talk about later too. But yeah, Ryan and I are going on a quest at a Renaissance Festival. It's a long story, but it's going to be epic.
We'll update that later. Maybe at the end of the weekend.
But we're going to talk about how it is that maybe possibly someone like Mario, me, this is like a normal guy kind of, might be able to now. I feel as if, especially in a environment like a Renaissance Festival, is I've been awakened to some kind of again through your show, really, this journey I've been on. Why is it that I now think I have some kind of maybe I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a psychic. I'm not saying I'm a whatever. I'm a woo dude. No, I don't know.
You messaged me the other day that you were a festy magician.
I think I'm a festival magician as far as the things that occur, and I seem to accidentally get myself in.
What did you say at dinner tonight? That if there's going to be something put on your tombstone, if there's one thing that you're good at, it is specifically to
getting into secret speakeasies.
That's your magic power.
That's if you really just still in, if you really just take it at face value. Now I've looked past that and realized how is it that I got pulled into that speakeasy, and why do I continually now am able to, even though I don't want to jinx myself again. I don't know about magic. I'm not a spiritual guy. I'm just like the fool. I'm a big, huge fool, which everyone is, but I'm literally a fool. I'm a listener to the show, right? I got into your show, and I've been following all the shit on it. And I've come to figure out, and even on Jessica's show, the Good Medicine podcast, we really kind of got to the core of what I think happened. And it is a near-death experience that happened. And why do I think I'm a festival magician? And again, I'm not really saying that. When I coined the term poster magic, it was kind of flippantly. well, what do I think I'm being told? You know, I was sent on several missions by posters. And I've had people call me. I had posters I just framed. Somebody would call me and give me like a crazy story, like there's something in their life. And I looked at the posters, and they had matched photos that their person that they were having an issue with posted just minutes before on Facebook. And those photos matched the posters that were on my couch. And I was able to tell, look, I gave him a reading. And he had to be able to see it because I'm like, look at these posters.
I think I got it.
You know what I mean? Like, it was that blatant.
Posters are your treasure map.
It's kind of like a treasure map.
Posters are your map.
But now it's any imagery. Now I'm doing this bibliomancy. So the posters are something
Well,
that
let's explain bibliomancy first of all.
So we called it book draws. The first time I was we did some really good book draws on your show, which is basically taking a book, and regardless of if you just take a card and slip it in, or if you, I started out taking the book and flip it. Jessica and Oscar taught me this method, and we just called it book draws. Is you take a book and she would just randomly stop her finger at a page, or what she did, she took a bookmarker, like her bookmark, and she'd just slide it in this book she had, and instantly the first book draw that she ever did in a session was one of our very first sessions, and it just, to this day, it's still a narrative that continues.
And by the way,
and it would take a whole show for me to explain that story. That's actually a good story. The Spanish caravan narrative.
The Spanish caravan narrative
is never ending.
And real quick, I got to interject.
Okay.
Because for listeners who are new to this show, new to this program, you have to go back and listen to the interviews with Jessica and Oscar specifically. Just search through the podcast. Just search Jessica and Oscar. They will come up. I mean,
she's a channel.
You couldn't help.
She's amazing. Listen to anything that she has.
You couldn't hope to meet just a more beautiful person.
Oh my, right. Yeah, I mean, the importance to me of her in my whole journey, and you.
We love Jessica on this show.
Jessica. Shout out to Jessica and Oscar.
Always have, always will. Shout out
I think Oscar is now one of my guides. I think he's my main guide. I really do. I don't channel him like she does. But my interpretation of now all this crazy stuff that I got going on is that Oscar is a guide, and he's somehow like the travel agent of all my other guides, which also I think are my ancestors, and like my dad, and like, you know, different people that I know. Like, he's somehow to me the spiritual gatekeeper, or he's like a conduit for any of your spirit guides. Because the way the comedy comes up is, to me, still blatantly Oscar. And actually, dude, if I question Oscar, like recently I've done it twice. And I've showed it to you, and I'll send it to anyone. Like, hey, is Oscar, are you my guide? Are you there, buddy? Like, if I ask for Oscar, I will see on the internet, in a certain spot, an Oscar the Grouch, or, you know, I mean, there'll be some kind of, or the name Oscar. And Jessica says it too. Like, if she ever questioned him, she'd be in the dog park. Like, Oscar, are you there? Like, if she does it, she gets it really fast. You know, if she asks for Oscar, she'll be in the dog park, and some lady will go, Oscar, call her dog.
My favorite dog of all time was named Oscar.
You owned a dog named Oscar. See,
I did.
That's how much synchronicity is. And when I was with Jessica, it was, and when I'm with you, Ryan, it's the same way. And I'm with, like, all our friends at Woo Weekend, the synchronicity, when you're with these kind of people, like your soul family, let's say, synchronicity just on tap. You know what I mean? But again, I'm talking about, if she questions Oscar, she'll be showing something for Oscar. And I've done it a couple times recently, like, Oscar, are you really my guide? Because I have a real weird thing about it. Like, you know, this is her guide. But, you know, when I did a guide connect with her, like, I mean, I was in the hypnosis. We did, like, a journeying work that she does, right? And we did a guide connect. And to me, it was still this Oscar type personality. Again, even though I still feel now that I'm getting messages and memos from my dad and from just, you know, my grandma, and even like my best friend's dad, like my closest friends, who was a dude that was like a dad to me, and then other friends, certain ways they pop up. But if I question Oscar, there'll be a very specific synchronicity of like an Oscar the Grouch. Like, okay, the one that happened recently is I asked for Oscar. I had some really big revelations recently. And I said, Oscar, are you, my God, are you still there? You know, and the next day I look and it's like a venue, the very beautiful venue called the Magic Bag, right? So on the fucking building, it's a fucking commercial on Instagram for a gutter company. It's not the Magic Bag, it's a gutter company. Well, they put gutters on the Magic Bag or the building next to it, but they showed the Magic Bag and it's like a concert venue. And at the top, it had a cat. It's a black cat, and it has a magic bag. And with its opening, and it has all this cool trippy shit coming out of it, like magic. But at the bottom, on the dumpster, it's got like a beautiful graffitied Oscar the Grouch on it. And that was in my advertisements. It's still to this day. I could pull up my Instagram right now, and I'd find it probably, of this gutter company, which I actually have gutter problems. I actually have fucking water coming in the side of my house.
Not to mention I got gutter problems.
So, like, every single thing about it, like the night I got engaged to Princess Peach, we went and saw Green Sky Bluegrass at the Magic Bag.
Love Green Sky Bluegrass. Please.
Oh, dude.
Please.
My life was seemingly devoid of like such joy up until the moment when you discover a band and you're like, my life was kind of pitiful before this. Like, but it happens over and over and over again if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Green Sky Bluegrass is one of those bands where I'm just like, oh, how did I not know?
They were the first band that I saw at the festival, the Rothbury, that turned to Electric Forest, that started this whole, my entire narrative, why I'm even talking to you to this day. They were the first band we saw. They covered Pink Floyd Time. They played Talking Heads, Road to Nowhere.
I am hesitant to say that anyone has made a cover song better than an original Pink Floyd song. I am hesitant to say that.
Yeah, it was great.
But I will say that their cover of Time, the Pink Floyd song,
you know what I'm talking about,
is fucking
so good,
remarkable.
Have you heard the Road to Nowhere? So me and Princess Peach followed Green Sky Bluegrass around. Like, we were friends because they're from a local area, and we started seeing them in 2008. The first time we saw them was at Rothbury in 2008, and then we just went to every show for a long time. And we would always end up hanging out with the bass player, Duvall. And what was cool, the night we got engaged, like, we were hanging out with him out front of the Magic Bag, and we had pictures of us with him, and we were kind of like doing funny dance moves, and I forget exactly what we were doing, but we were kind of like doing funny poses with him, the night we got engaged, and we saw the show there at that place that I'm talking about. It had the Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street, but to me that's kind of like a symbol for him. But also, and Jessica said elk, really, but deer and elk, let's say, antlers, also represent Oscar, so that comes up a lot too. Sometimes,
yeah, Oscar and the Cowboy.
There's Oscar the Cowboy has come up a lot, but yeah, look at her episodes.
I mean, they're great. They're great listening. They're enjoyable. They're entertaining at the very least, even if you're a hardcore skeptic and a non-believer. But even if you are willing to open your mind a little bit and wedge open that belief section and let a little light in, you're going to have a really good time listening to those, because the first and, quite frankly, I think the only response I ever got to my open call, which I actually want to do that again, where I'm putting out an open call for ETs and extraterrestrials or super intelligent beings from that are not terrestrial, that if they want to come on this show, of course I would love to have them on. I put out that call and Jessica reached out, and that's how that began.
And
it's remarkable.
Woman for this entity that is Oscar. So she channels him, and when you're talking to her, it's like sometimes you can almost see her like look up. She's always her, but Oscar will tell her things, and again, it only takes you 5 seconds to talk to her because she'll tell you something. Oscar will show her something that there's no way she has any way to know. And once she tells you that, then you know. Like, how did you know that?
There's something special happening.
There's something special happening.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And we started off the show talking about, a correlation between, hardship, trauma, suffering, pain, disease, illness, sickness, etc., in connection to paranormal, intuitive, psychic abilities, clairvoyance, and things of that nature. I recorded an episode. It was just last night, actually, the last episode, which was a third-year bonus, and I was doing a thought experiment about, what is this connection, right? And like, why is this connection? Why do I believe this connection is here and real and actually part of this whole woo-woo world, right? Or the paranormal world itself. And part of me wonders if it's an acceptance of a life that will be lived with hardship and persevering and enduring through that, knowing in advance that the road ahead is going to be fucking hard. If there's something about that, if there's also something about the way the brain operates on a daily basis, if it transitions into a different functioning when one is suffering, physical, emotional, spiritual, even pain on a regular, even sometimes daily basis, if it transitions the brain into, because we talk, scientists will talk about these different phases of the brain, or I'm saying that wrong, but like theta, alpha, these different, like when your brain is in a meditative state and things like that.
Right.
So it makes me wonder if the physical, emotional, and even spiritual hardship, abuse, pain that a person feels on, a regular basis transitions their brain into one of these meditative states on an almost regular basis.
Right.
To some degree, which has been proven, or at least seemingly proven,
right,
to open oneself up to extraordinary phenomena.
So I can comment on all those things because this is what I figured out since I've been listening to your show, is that I think I know, and really I dug deep into it with Jessica and Oscar, and actually we really got to the heart of that whole narrative as far as something that I kind of had thought that I'd go in from a near-death experience, and on her podcast, we got kind of the bottom of it. So I had, speaking of Green Sky Bluegrass, I partied so hard at the first ever Green Sky Bluegrass show I ever went to at that Rockbury Music Festival in 2008. That Green Sky Bluegrass played on Thursday, okay? We saw Green Sky Bluegrass, then we went and saw the Disco Biscuits. And me and my buddy were so spun on this Molly that we had, this MDMA. Again, don't abuse these drugs, kids. You don't want to do these things too much. I abused these things, But what happened was I had a near-death experience. So that Thursday we partied. Me and my buddy were at Disco Biscuits. We thought we were in the Roman Coliseum, and like we both thought we were on concrete steps, but yet it was grass. But yet we both had the same exact kind of hallucination that we were, like in a concrete type venue, right? Other crazy shit happened. Well, anyway, long story short, we partied so hard. It was just such an amazing time that the next day, Friday, I woke up, I ate like a half a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, okay? My friends were brewing mushroom tea, I drank that. I ate a bunch of Xanax because I was nervous, you're at a music festival, it was a crazy scene, so I ate that, and we started drinking Red Bull vodkas. And then we had this crazy MDMA, right? Crazy, at this Rockbury Fest, and ask anyone, it was just...
I mean, this is like you're
2008.
You're writing the handbook on how to abuse,
how to kill yourself, right? And how to die at a festival. This is the handbook.
This is like
wake up half a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, right? So that I would take 4 tenths, which is almost a half a gram of this very extremely strong MDMA, right? Put it in a Gatorade, shook it up, drank that. Then we went out in the hot sun, and I'm not glorifying this. This is scary. This is scary. This is if I listen to it now, it's this is not cool. This is a handbook. This is how kids die. Don't rave like this, kids. So drank this MDMA and the Gatorade, went in the festival, it was hot all day, and we're partying, watching shows. We like saw the Black Keys, dude, like before they were big, and saw all these shows, and I took another Gatorade. I threw 4 more tents in it. Did all, I just Red Bull, vodka, Xanax, and
it's almost like
all day
feels like
in the sun.
Like a party death wish.
In the sun and Xanax, and then what happened was it got cold. Like we're at Widespread Panic at the Odeum. It was the main stage. We're watching this band. My buddy had brought a chair, and I'm like, I was sitting in it watching the Widespread Panic, kind of enjoying it. But it was basically, I started going into, what is it called when you're dying of cold?
Anaphylactic shock?
No,
hypothermia?
Hypothermia. There's hyperthermia, right? It's from hot heat.
Hypothermia.
You know what I mean? I went from almost dying of being too hot to instantly almost dying of being too cold because the sun went down. It got cold. I didn't have a hoodie or nothing. I just had the same sweaty shirt I've been wearing all day. And I'm on all these bad substances, right? Didn't drink no water. Red Bull vodka, which is not good for you either, period. Right? It got cold, and dude, my buddy's finally like, hey man, like I was hanging on. I knew I was hanging on for dear life, like from something. Like I'm about to, like I'm sitting in this dude's chair, say, hey man, I could have bought that chair for me, I'm like, yeah, you're right, dude. Hey, I know I'm about to die and shit. Like you don't understand the level of death. I'm dealing with.
I kind of bought that chair for me.
Like, I bought that chair for me, man. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know. Like, I went and I snack on danger and I die on death, but here's your chair back because it's yours, rightfully so. So here's what's funny, actually. The dude that's talking to me, and kind of now because I think I'm haunted by a trickster, right? His name was Foxy. Foxy's talking to me. I'm standing up. I'm like, oh man, like. Freaking Widespread Panic's playing Love Tractor. Foxy's talking to me. And all of a sudden, it turned from English, it turned to Portuguese. Like, like Snoopy's teacher. Like Charlie Brown's teacher, dude. Suddenly, I could not understand English. And I suddenly knew, I'm like, I'm about to drop dead, like my hearing went. I couldn't understand English. And suddenly, I just totally blacked out. And what they all said was, everyone there, dude, and like seriously, people like testify to this fact. They saw me drop like a 2x4, like not a human body, but like I was that stiff and cold that I dropped out and I fell backwards. And when I fell back, I hit my head on the ground, and I like quit breathing and had no pulse, dude. Like my friends all instantly, my wife, Princess Peach, freaking, and she was my girlfriend at the time, but. They swooped on me and they felt me, dude. They're like, I was stiff as a board, cold as a stone. And I had a death experience as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I was out, not in this world, the whole entire thing, to where when I woke up, I don't really have a huge story about, I felt this just death. I don't know. Wasn't at the pearly gates, or I don't really have amazing psychedelic stories but a feeling of I did not exist, dude. Like way beyond just having a concussion, which I did, but it was way beyond that because they said that I was cold as a Klondike bar, buddy. And when I woke up,
I'm laughing at the description, not the description, or not actually what's being described. To be clear,
it's
cold as a Klondike bar. I mean, we were talking about our love at Klondike bars earlier at dinner.
A little bit of a reprise, a Klondike bar reprise for the second.
So you were fucking dead.
I was dead, dude. They knew I was dead. They were. I mean, everyone was just shook. I mean, everyone was like, again, you could like. When Jessica went to Electric Forces with me, we ran into a couple kids that were with us, and they told her the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of cool the way it happened because they kind of like testified to this narrative. You know what I mean? Like, she heard it. I'm like, I told you, dude. So, she actually heard someone say it because she's really helped me deal with this. I mean, I went to her really ultimately. Again, the moral of the story is this whole journey started at this moment, in my opinion, right? But it took me years and years to realize that. So when I woke up, I had this feeling of...
Hold on.
Yeah?
We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And we come back.
This is we got to pay the bills around here.
Cliffhanger right here.
Yeah. You got to remind me what the fuck I was talking about, though, dude.
You woke up.
I woke up.
When you woke up, you had...
Peace.
Wait, stop.
Yeah, there is the whole thing.
You're giving away the cliffhanger.
I got to do a little...
Mario, you're giving away the cliffhanger.
A little sales pitch.
By the way, you can listen to every episode of this
this dare I say fantastic program, commercial free, over at patreon.com/Ryan Singer for $3 a month. I spent $6 on an iced coffee at Starbucks today.
Right.
Because it's pumpkin season. Okay, so patreon.com/Ryan Singer. We're gonna talk about the awareness, the message, the instant knowing of a certain truth that Mario realized when he woke up from being dead after, a very irresponsible, drug-induced festival experience. We're not glorifying partying your fucking
cautionary
balls off
tales
to the point of killing yourself. That is, it's a cautionary tale for sure. There's much easier ways to have a near-death experience. We'll be right back. And we're back. So, okay. So you go cold. You go stiff as a board, cold as a stone, colder than a Klondike bar.
Yeah.
Princess Peach, girlfriend at the time, now wife, and friends swoop in on you. You come to, and you have a thought. You have an awareness of something.
I was cold as a razor blade, and I was tight as a tourniquet. I was loud as a funeral drum. And I had that feeling of, again, you just can't explain it, of really, it was kind of amazing feeling as far as there was no self. There was no anything. I ceased to exist. And when I did wake back up, all I remember is opening my eyes and seeing blades of grass. And it was kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with Rick Moranis, dude. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Kids, that's one that people need to bring back up. That's got
Kids, that's one that we need.
Let's make Moranis go viral.
I like how we keep talking.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, dude. Everybody talks about the Goonies, but no kids, no Honey, I Shrunk the. Let's get on this, right?
I like how we keep talking. We keep addressing the kids listening to the program. Like this whole time, it's like, kids, listen up. It's like, who are the kids listening to this shit?
I don't know. We gotta get some. They gotta be smartened up by us.
So kids, bring back Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise.
So they know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the blades of grass look huge because that's all I could see. It was just a forest or a jungle of grass blades. And I'm like, oh, wow. How in the fuck am I seeing these? I didn't see my feet or my belly or, it was like, because I was on my back and my neck was cocked and all I could see was the grass.
And you weren't looking to the side.
Wasn't looking to the side. I was looking straight forward, and I didn't see my family and my friends that were all saving my life. And I saw the blades of grass, and there was a pure joy moment for a while. Like, oh my God, I'm alive. And then I'm loving this grass. And I look, and they're all rubbing me. Oh my God. And so I hear my friends and family losing their shit. And then I realize, oh my God, I'm alive. I fucking instantly thought, I'm like, surely the ambulance is going to grab me. Surely, there's some kind of medical staff here to help me. I was dead, for Christ's sakes, right? So I'm instantly, if the doctor shows up, the cops could come too. I instantly, realized doing the math on all this shit. I grabbed my wallet, and they will even tell you this. I grabbed my wallet, I grabbed my bindle, I call it, like a little paper envelope full of Molly that I had in my pocket. And I freaking handed my wife, go ahead and grab this thing and whip this shit. Because I was certain that someone was coming to save me. That I was about to get thrown in the back of a hearse or whatever. Or ambulance is what I'm trying to say. But that wasn't happening. We're in the middle of this crazy panic show. Like, it takes a while, I mean, if I was really dying, they would have got help. But I came back to life in time to where the help hadn't been got yet. There was no help, dude. Nobody's helping me, dude. I was going to die there cold as a tourniquet or whatever the fuck. But I woke up, I gave her that, and then I go, I'm freezing. I'm like, my temp had to be, again, Klondike status. I go, I'm dying. I was screaming. I think the clock was ticking. I was about to go back down. I mean, I'm certain I died, but whatever. Get me a hoodie. So they had to run out, and they bought me like a $60 hoodie, and it's beautiful tree and it had roots running down. It's kind of like
It's a tree of
string
life.
cheese incident. Kind of like the tree of life. It's like a string cheese incident. I think it's in there. It's like something to do with them, you know. I forget what song exactly, but roots run deep, and it was a tree with the roots coming down, and it was a brown, beautiful hoodie. And we ended up putting that logo on when we got married, Princess Peach and I, we put that logo on we made koozies to give away as the gift, kind of it was pretty cool. So she put that hoodie on me, and man, did it save my life. You know, I got my temperature back enough to where I was alive, and I'm like, okay. Take me back, dude. Take me back to camp, man. Like, she goes, no. You know what was playing next? Primus.
Oh my
So
god!
this actually, you're getting.
So she's like, I know you just died.
You're helping me dig into
but
the
you're
narrative.
not missing Primus.
You're not. This is the narrative, dude. Because this is the poster magic. Where did the poster magic come from? Primus. We're getting to the bottom of my shit. Ryan's helped me figure out my whole life.
Oh my god!
This is what you're talking about. This is self-realization happening online. So, dude, she takes me to that Primus.
And knowing Princess Peach as I do,
she made me go.
I can't believe
the right move, dude.
I can't believe it, but I also 100% believe it.
She made me rally.
She made you.
She made
She
me
made
rally.
you rally from death. She made you rally.
Which that word just came up in a tarot bibliomancy reading. I have a big rally story. I won't get into it. That word actually just was.
This is my favorite thing about you, by the way.
It never ends.
Let me tell you, this is my favorite thing about you. There's two things you say. There's two things you say that are the biggest lies in the universe.
And one of them is
That's
the whole story. I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, right.
Because then you immediately start.
going into that story, which you were doing just now.
Well, I try to not. I try
Right,
to.
no.
That's
And
my
so-
cue to myself to not go into it, but I do anyway.
But then immediately after you say that, the story begins. That's just
true.
it's a funny thing.
That is true.
I'm
I'm not getting into it, though.
But the second thing
rally
you say,
story is a good
the
story.
second thing you say,
2023, I have a rally story. I'm just saying it all ties together. I'm just
but the
flipping all
second thing you
pins.
say that is the biggest lie the universe has ever heard is, long story short.
Yes, that is. It is.
But
God
it's-
damn it.
but for
Well,
the-
that's me trying to cue. I'm trying to spell myself into.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
but
The point is, for the sake of podcasting, we're not looking for short stories.
Right.
so
The word rally and the whole rally thing is a continual thing. She made me rally. We go to Primus. She makes me go to Primus, but she goes, "You came here to see Primus," which I did. If I didn't, I wasn't dying. I really was in a status where I wasn't in a medical emergency. I had a concussion, and I had like a 5 years worth of drugs, brain damage in one day. Like my system was down. I was hurting. So I had like a lobotomy, So she I had to hold her hand, right? So this is actually, dude, the whole Carl thing.
this is when you knew you were going to marry her.
Well, I knew I was going to marry at first date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we knew. She knew. She was fucked. She got herself into deep water instantly. It was her own fault. She came up to me. Princess Peach only has herself to blame.
I can't wait for her to hear that.
Yeah, that's going to be good. But she had me go, and thank God she did. So we went to this Primus show. And it was Claypool came out with his Pinocchio long nose mask on. And they were just playing the most sick and twisted show. Because this is a psychedelic place. And it was the first year. So Primus really destroyed us. He played My Name is Mud. And at the end, there's this bass riff he does. And I counted, because it's on YouTube. He does this dun 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 at the very end of the song. He normally does it 8 or 6 times or something. He did it 78 times, dude. He kept on doing it, dude. And it's on YouTube, dude. You listen to it 78 times. He does that, the ending of the song, dun 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 dun. I'm he never would stop. I'm Claypool, I just died of watching Panic, dude. What are you doing to me? I'm
Claypool, I just died. Watching Panic. What are you doing to me, dude? That's the funniest sentence I've ever heard. Claypool, I just died.
He didn't know. But he did. He did, because he kept on doing it to me. I'm why are you doing this to me, dude?
You know this.
Because I go, are we stuck in some dimension? What's going on? Won't he stop? Is he ever going to stop? It felt like he was never going to stop. This dude's fucking with me, dude. He's trying to drive me insane. It was just an abstract. He knew he had a crowd that was wild. You know what I mean? So he was turning the knobs on us hard. It wasn't just me. It was
of course.
And it's, I'm not going to say that that's, I mean, I know if I have a crowd like that, I do the same thing to a certain degree, right? Like I'm not, like for instance, a couple months ago, I was performing at Hot Alien Summer Camp.
Hot Alien.
And just the name of it should let you know that it's
so cool.
It's not the, it's not the Dayton Funny Bone. You know what I mean?
Right. You got to turn the knobs on those people.
You definitely.
They paid the ticket. They bought the ticket. They're taking the ride.
You turn the knobs on a crowd like that because they're there for that.
Right. So while I'm on this thread, dude, this is actually of worldwide significance. The Carl narrative. This is my opinion of the Carl narrative, and to me, if anyone has a better Carl story explanation for this phenomena, then bring it forward. We're drinking screwdrivers here.
This is a Saucy Daddy Party.
Saucy Daddy show. You're getting me to where I do have a theory. Well, this is a bold statement. This is some really wild shit. This is like wilder than shit I've even told you before. Like, believe in Oscar is nothing compared to this, Carl. But I think you gotta be looking for Carl to find Oscar, in my experience. So, my wife, Princess Peach, had a friend that came to the festival. His name was Carl. She worked at a bar, and he was a customer at the bar. And he was really into music festivals, and he brought his RV, and he was at the music festival, and he came to our campsite. And this is the first time I ever met this Carl, and he was very intelligent man. He's actually a pilot, right? And which kind of like ties into the narrative later as far as the travel agency is concerned. But whatever. We met this guy, and he's very tall and very, very intelligent, very cool, and he's like, was a little bit older than us, right? And I'm like, I hadn't met a guy named Carl. I never knew a Carl. Never in my life have I knew a Carl. But he was at our camp, and in that Primus show, I died. I come back to life, and we go to this Primus show, dude. Claypool's trying to tweak my brain out with 78 My Name is Mud endings, and also we run into Carl, dude. And he is about 6'4" or some shit, dude. He was about 87 feet tall. We ran into Carl, dude. I'm like, oh my god, this is Carl, dude. Like, the kid was 100,000 feet tall. And I'm like, oh, I can't even, I almost died, dude. I couldn't be, like, I was afraid of Carl, dude. I was scared, living shitless of Carl. But it was just like, I can't talk to you as respectfully as I should right now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't say that. I didn't say any of that, dude. You know what I mean? Getting a lobotomy on the ground actually makes me shut up, right? So I was like, I couldn't even English to him. I kind of want to tell you, I couldn't even English to him anything. It was just like, oh my god, Carl, I can't deal with Carl right now. Oh my god, please, like I'm holding her hand, squeezing her hand, like please take me for Carl. I can't deal with it right now. He's too tall. Like, so we went away from him, whatever, dude. And in my mind, I'm like, I love this guy already. I know he was going to be a friend. I liked him, but it was just I could not deal with him. So. You know what happened?
I think we've all got friends like that.
You know what I'm saying? But like the moment, you're fucked
sure,
up. Yeah, you just can't. Your mom's there, But Carl wasn't like my mom, but it was like I just can't deal with Carl. And I know this is a bold statement to say this because most people think that what it was somebody had a friend named Carl and they lost him, or I might have yelled out Carl. I don't know. But that night, that's what started happening. And I don't know if I ever explained the whole Carl thing to you. That night, dude. Everyone started yelling, Carl! Carl! Hey, dude, I'm like, what, dude? And imagine if you're Carl. To this day, it's still happening. So, somehow, everybody
Imagine if you are Carl.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was with a Carl, and I have been since day one of this festival, dude. I've been with Carl. Because he even went with us last year. When Jessica came with us, Carl came. We're hanging out with Carl at camp, dude, the whole time. Okay, like she's hanging out with Carl. Jessica and Oscar hang out with my friend Carl. She doesn't know the synchronicity. We go to the festival because to this day everyone's still yelling the name Carl. Since that night, I woke up in the morning. Everybody's car had Carl written on the.
What?
Yes, dude.
Why?
Nobody's gonna believe this story, dude, because everybody knows
But what does it mean? Why?
Electric Forest sells Carl shirts, dude. I think I was so afraid of Carl that because no one else has an explanation better than this, based on all this other facts of festival magic that I have going on. My entire narrative is based off of this moment. So I'm folding in, I am now officially saying this is my Carl story, and people can take it for what it's worth, but dude, again, you can see this festival from like my family property. You can see the lights. Anyway, I got a lot of weird connections to this festival. This is the beginning of it, right? So again, my thought was always somebody was looking for Carl. Somebody started yelling Carl, which is maybe what happened. But to me, the synchronicity was so... I'm like, I'm just coming up with this theory now. Did my brain... You know what I mean? Like, the level of tricksterism I have... The universe is pranking me so hard. And this is why I've been on your show on a regular basis to where... And I have such a connection with this festival, and like the shit that occurred this year is just... beyond mind-boggling. The stuff I got going on with this festival is that it's such a spiritual level that I'm coming to realize now that I've investigated it is to me that somehow my brain threw that name out in the universe with such fear after this, based on the near-death experience. That's the point here, Ryan. Based on the near-death experience that I had, and then later the fact that my entire story of how my spiritual journey began in the hangar building, where all these characters are and all these secret worlds are in Electric Forest, that's where this building sits. The spot where I died. And that's what Jessica helped me figure out. The spot where I had the near-death experience is where all this crazy shit is going on to this day, dude. And all my friends saw it this year. All my friends saw it, dude. I'm on your podcast telling crazy stories. I'm sitting here telling...
Let me lay this out.
I'm talking
Just
about
so
Jessica
we're
and Oscar
clear.
and all this shit.
Go
ahead.
Mario, let me lay this out.
You know what I mean? If you're understanding what I'm trying to dish
Let me
out.
see.
I'm going to lay this out in a way that I think I understand it. And you let me know if I'm right. What you're telling me and what you're telling the listeners of this show.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is...
It's pretty wild. And by the way, I'm totally here for it. What are we talking about? Timeline. A couple years earlier, many years earlier, have a near-death experience in a location.
Specific location.
A very specific. Okay, so years earlier,
You have a very
2008.
specific...
location-based near-death experience. Immediately following that experience, you meet a man named Carl. And you're filled with complete terror or fear of Carl at the moment.
Yeah.
Even though you knew you'd be friends with this person.
I met him. I already knew him, but I just had met him.
Yes.
But then shortly thereafter that night,
So what you're telling me is your specific location of a near-death experience and the subsequent events that followed immediately after the near-death experience somehow have manifested themselves in a way that are represented through this festival, Electric Forest.
Yes.
And specifically through the name Carl.
Which is worldwide phenomenon, by the way. You can go to festivals anywhere and yell Carl, and someone will yell back to you, Carl. Anyway, literally.
And how long has that been happening?
Since that night.
Since that night. So what we are postulating
Since that night.
Let me get this straight.
Your near-death experience has, and by the way, I'm totally here for.
It's the same exact spot. Let me say this, because it's on the tip of my tongue. My spiritual awakening journey that directly leads to you. Why did I find you? Because Zachariah the Witch was in the poetry brothel. The poetry brothel stood at the spot exactly
Are you
where
fucking serious?
fucking... No, dude. I'm absolutely serious. I am absolutely serious. The near-death experience happened in the same field as my spiritual awakening began. My first tarot reading ever by Madame Tallulah, Mona Mayhem.
I gotta reach out to Zachariah, by the way. It's been a minute since I've
Mona
touched base
Mayhem
with
pulled us in to the poetry, bro. It's a long story.
Okay, so this is wild. Okay,
But
so
this is all
let me
Let me lay this out in a more succinct way. Your near-death experience and the energy created by such an event has created a major ripple event, not only in your life, but that is expanding beyond your personal parameters and has possibly affected festival culture worldwide.
I'm not trying to say that, dude. First of all, I'm under an alias. I have nothing to gain. Oscar Mario Creston, because my original, again, that's a whole other narrative. You know, my alias was Oscar.
I know it was before you
even
even
the whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole other story. But I don't have even an Instagram account or anything for this. I have nothing to gain. You know what I mean? I have
But
nothing.
am
to
I
sell.
correct in what I'm assessing here?
Well,
What I'm stating.
I didn't plan. Seriously, dude, I did not plan on. It takes 3 screwdrivers to get me to say this.
It takes me 3.
This Carl is a whole side.
It's a side
narrative.
quest.
It's a side narrative of. To me, it's just a side little thing that happened while I became this. At that moment, a person that had survived a near-death experience.
But what we can examine here is something that's
You know what I
That's
mean?
bigger than any of us that are involved in the narrative. And that is the energy and the experience of the near-death experience itself, which is something that I haven't really considered at all in the past, and I definitely will be considering in the future. And that is the energy event that happens during a near-death experience. I was just having this conversation last night with someone very close to me about when you talk about quantum physics and you get into splitting the atom, it creates the biggest explosion in the world when it comes to like nuclear bombs, right? When we're talking about fission and fusion and things like that, right? Where we're talking about the smallest fucking thing that you can possibly imagine, creating the biggest thing that you can actually see, right? And you don't have to understand it to understand that it's real.
So just while I have it on the tip of my tongue again, the level of what I'm claiming the universe is fucking with me, as far as I have a connection with the trickster, which again I think is Oscar, is the level of how strong the universe is fucking with me at that moment and trying to send me a message, is that it reverberated throughout that entire festival. And again, if somebody has a more convincing story of, oh, my buddy Carl, like, dude, how many Carls are there, dude? How many Carls do you know? Carl's a name, but it's not that common of a name. Again, I have zero plans on coming on your show today and even touching that subject.
I know.
I have 1,000 stories that I loved it, though, because it's helping me figure out my story, because that, to me, you brought the subject up. Trauma, near-death experience, this, that, and the other thing. Well, to me, that's showing the power of that near-death experience. Well, since then, and it took even years to where then I got pulled into this world, which now has led me on the spiritual journey to now realize things like, yeah, being a dumbass, abusing the drugs. And I don't recommend anyone do it, but I've died 1,000 deaths. I'll be honest with you. I think I've died 1,000 deaths. I've dined on danger, I've snacked on danger, I died on death, and I don't say you should do this. I think there's something to be said about it's your time, and do not do as I do, because you don't want to do this. But again, the only way I can explain it to you is how I'm just kind of not a spiritual dude. I'm just like a whatever guy, like a normal kind of guy. That's now, I fully believe in so many of these things now, right? I would never thought, a 3 years ago that if I said I would be telling I'm doing bibliomancy. I don't even know what that word is.
And we're not going to have time to get into even the new thing.
We're not. I believe in all these spiritual things is the point, though.
But here's the bigger thing for
now, and I've learned all this stuff.
Here's the thing that, and granted, this is a Saucy Daddy
yeah, we're soft.
Party episode.
We're sorry.
But let me tell you this.
Funny shit, though.
But I'll tell you.
The idea and the consideration that I now must give to the energetic event that is a near-death experience, and then and maybe it's not even the near-death experience, it's maybe what is more aptly termed the coming back to life experience.
Right.
Which you don't ever hear it called that. You hear it called near death, but you never hear it coming back to life experience.
That to me was the There's definitely components of the whole experience. And here's the thing, I don't want to compare it to, because I'm always feeling like I'm being an ass. I don't want to compare it to. This is nothing compared to people that had near-death experiences where they've actually been in car accidents.
Clear.
Well, yeah. I mean, this was something. I did not have to be in the hospital. I somehow got so lucky that I was able to snap right back. Subsequently, the next year, I was in such a bad car accident and somehow did not get hurt at all. But it was like one that you should have. It was like so near death to where it was like a near death experience that I didn't get hurt. Granted, I had every fiber of my being hurt, but that was kind of a whole different genre, right? And then you got your like drug overdoses and different things. Like, you know what I mean? Have a few kind of, I don't want to say what thing it is, but bad things that
Yeah, well, sure. But I mean, I think for me, it's all of that in consideration.
when you wake up from those, you're so happy you're alive. You're like, holy fuck, I'm alive.
But I think one of the most fascinating aspects of this, and the reason I'm going to say this is because for me, it's a new consideration as opposed to a consideration I've had before when considering these things. It's a new consideration in the realm of near-death experiences is the energetic event that happens during one of these things. Excuse me. And what are the implications of, because, I mean, let me use a little bit of hyperbole here.
I speak hyperbole.
A near-death experience
Is nothing less than being born again. Being
birthing new life
into the universe, which is a powerful, powerful event. I think if you ask any woman who's ever given birth, she will tell you it is one of the most painful and powerful events that one could ever hope to experience. Right. So when you consider this, when you and like I said, I use hyperbole here, maybe, potentially, but maybe not. Right? And that's the whimsical nature I have to think that maybe it's not. When you have such a powerful, energetic event happening, what are the implications and what are the ripple effects? And is it possible that every near-death experience has been having a very, very powerful ripple effect on at the very least, the immediate area in universe around it, which is something that is fascinating to think about. It is, at the very least, piquing of the curiosity, right?
So Ryan, you said the magic word. You could cut. You're gonna have to listen to the story. We're getting to the bottom of the intention I set when I talk to you is to figure out this shit. If we have to cut out time from other stories, we cut it out of the show. I have to tell you this story now because you just said rebirth. Do you know what happened to me this year in that exact same location?
So the same location where you had the near-death experience, where Electric Forest happens, where you meet Zachariah the Witch.
I didn't meet him there. I did never meet him there. He was a part of my family for a minute. I ate Christmas dinner with him a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll just say that.
Okay,
in real life, before he was a witch.
Walk me through the events that have happened in that same location.
So you said rebirth. So I had my near-death experience in this location. I had my spiritual awakening at this location because the beginning of my spiritual awakening was, remember I told you I had a good knack at getting into secret speakeasy, right? Well, the whole experience of that happened in this field where they built this building called the Hangar, to where there was all these buildings in there, and there was like a pawn shop, and like a bowling alley, a game room, like it was like a town square, it was like Westworld, like there's characters, it's like a building, an airplane hangar. Okay, remember what I told you? My friend Carl's like a pilot. Well, it was an airplane hangar, literally a building, and the whole theme is of this building. When they built it and they put it up, suddenly it appeared in this field was only from the heart can you touch the sky. And it's an airplane hangar. And it was like all kind of like a themed, like an airport kind of, you know, like travel agency type theme to it, you know, is what it ended up being. And in these buildings, you know, there's storefronts. Wow, there's secret worlds behind those storefronts. There's secret experiences that not that many people get. You have to like play this scavenger hunt, and you end up getting a pin, and then people tell you, you know, you get into these worlds. Well, I don't necessarily play that way. Like, you know, there's basically, I don't know, there's different ways to play. I feel like I'm playing a game that everyone's not playing. And I think it's spiritual in nature, and I know it is. And that's what's led me to Oscar, Jessica, and you, and it's led me on this entire path. And it started all here, but I now realize that it's way beyond the festival now. It's basically happening all the time. I'm in this game and having these experiences now in real life, and especially after my rebirth experience. So this year, I had a rebirth experience, dude. I had a lot of experiences in this Dream Emporium, they called it. And it's an unbelievable story, but I was baptized. No. These stories it's an amazing story. But it was an immersive experience. So it wasn't any, you know, it's just how you get into them, you know. But a lot of people had these experiences. It wasn't just me. But it was just the way I went about somehow getting sucked into these experiences. That's cool. But ultimately it's, you know, it's an immersive experience with actors, and it's set up by the festival. A lot of other, you know, everyone else there has enjoyed it and experienced it too. It's just, you don't know how to get into these places. You know, it's just like secret worlds. So once you get pulled into them, it's amazing. And the way I went about it, and I was able to display, the way the Dream Emporium was set up this year, I was able to display it to my friends. And again, we walk around the place and everyone comes up to me. People come up and hand me shit. And they saw it. They're like, what the fuck, dude? I go, I know, dude, I told you. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in that space, dude, that space in particular, like we were waiting in line at this Dream Emporium this year because I got the secret pin, dude. Long story, dude. I got the secret pin, right? And I got it my own way. I can honestly say that. I'm not going to tell you how I got it because that'll ruin it. But I think there was 22,000 people that played this scavenger hunt at this festival this year. I'm willing to bet you, and I'll, you know, people can fact check me or not. I'm not trying to brag, but I think it's because of this near-death experience that the way shit went down, the way I got into these secret locations, the way it went down is because of this. You know what I mean? Like I was able to get the secret pin without doing one of the puzzles. And I did it in a very specific way. And I had to prove myself, and I had to talk to all the right people and say the right things. I think anyone could do it that way, but you have to be able to prove to these people, which are magic people, man. What I've come to find out. I mean, these people are you know, these are like tricksters and jesters and clowns, and they're performers, they're poets, and they're musicians, and they're you know, the game has been always about finding real magic, and they're showing it to me. But I think I'm to the point now where I'm kind of like, I don't know who's setting who up. I don't know if I'm, you know what I mean? It's all about webs, I found. But that's a whole other podcast. But I ended up so I had my friend, and you were waiting in line, and this girl was in the very front of the line, and she looked like Harley Quinn. She was a rave goddess. Like, she had her, like, a bunch of braids, and they were all in different rainbow colors, and she was just in front of the line, and I didn't really notice her, but we're waiting, and this place wasn't open yet. She comes from the front of the line, comes all the way back, turns around, comes back, and this is my buddy who, like, doesn't believe my narratives. Like, you know, he does believe them, but he's a skeptic big time about everything. Like, he doesn't want to, nobody wants to say, yeah, all right, that's weird. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to say, yeah, all right, that's some magic shit. Especially people that are skeptics. They don't want to admit it. So none of my friends and family are trying to, you know, what do you call it, amuse me, or what do you call it, I forget what I'm trying to say there, but, you know, nobody's got my back and saying, yeah, this crazy shit this maniac's saying is right. No, they all say I'm crazy. Everyone says crazy, or Mario is crazy, right? And I'm telling this guy, dude, weird shit happened to me at this area, right? Well, this girl, dude, we're waiting in line for a long time. This girl comes right out of line, comes around, turns around, comes right up to me, not anyone else. I mean, there's hundreds of people in line. This girl comes right up to me, hands me the sticker, and it's a mushroom with a snail on it. And she turns around, hands it to me, turns back around, goes right up to the front of the line, and as soon as she went up there, all of a sudden the guy opened the door, the curtain, and let her into the Dream Emporium. Her and her like 5 buddies. And my buddy turns to me and goes, dude, what the fuck was that? I wasn't even trying to sell it because I wasn't even trying to wrap my mind around what this meant. I'm telling myself that this means nothing. It's just a sticker. People hand stickers out at like a forest, okay? But again, I'm already telling this dude, I got people come up to me and this chick does this. Beautiful woman, goddess, comes up to me, does it. You know what I mean? I kind of already like delivered the mail. But I'm like, no, whatever. I didn't even say nothing. He's blown his top. What was that, dude? That means something. What does that get us into? What does that get us into? I'm like, dude, I already got other things I'm trying to get us into. Don't add, like I'm basically having to tell this dude to like calm his jets. I'm the maniac, but I'm having to tell him to calm his jets. I'm like, it doesn't mean shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a sticker, But he's like convinced that, suddenly this, the guy goes from, and that's how when you prove something to someone, they go from being the skeptic to suddenly trying to explain to you what the fuck they think is going on. You know what I mean? Like, it took one sticker. It took 5 seconds for this guy to become a believer in Mario. It's not no fault of mine. So then, long story short, we get in there. And again, a lot of people get this experience, but I'll be lying to you if I didn't tell you I was not got pulled into a vagina room. This room, dude, it's like pink. It's like, you gotta go up to the desk and you gotta like prove to the agents at the travel agency there, or they were the Dream Emporium Dream Girl agents. You gotta go to the desk, which is like a circular desk in the middle of this fucking building, right? And you gotta like get your missions for these girls, or you gotta ask them, or they just give you you talk to them, and they might just tell you, blow away, give you false info. You don't know what you're getting from them. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the game, because they can send you down a red herring just as easy as they can send you into heaven. But we got into this room, and it was a big pink wall room, and this guy comes out in a preacher, I wouldn't say he's a priest, but he was like, a religious, a pastor, religious, but he had like a robe on. It was like a beautiful robe. And he starts talking about our rebirth. And welcome to Lucky Forest, and we're in the canal, the Great Pink Canal of birth. He did this whole sermon about being in a vagina and being reborn. And trust me, it was not lost on me, dude. Because I'm sitting here, yeah, I know a little bit of a thing or two about that, pal. And then he goes on his thing, and and then he, finishes his sermon, he opens up those pearly lips. And we're suddenly in a fucking birthday room. It was basically me, but like in drag, with a big ass fucking, like their hair was just, beautiful costumes, like big huge hair, like his hair was like a big huge wedding birthday cake, and there was this big huge birthday cake in the room, and it was just like all these beautiful girls and different people dressed up in these birthday outfits with like, again, huge birthday cake hair, and a huge birthday cake in the room. The whole room was like, and they were singing, birthday, 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 cake, 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 birthday, 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 cake, 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 and there's glitter everywhere, and we had to take, like bend over and throw the glitter, and they're throwing glitter and all this shit on us. It's just a psychedelic vagina room portal, rebirthed into the birthday room. And it was just a phenomenal experience, and there's many more stories. But that's just one of them. But that's the rebirth that I had. So, and again, the story of me, how I got this pin to get in and all this shit, it just continues that whole thing. So my friends all experienced that, and he said it was the most unbelievable day of his life. And basically can't argue with me as far as, my whole thought on that specific, a lot of special things that happened to me in that field. Right? So I think it speaks on your question of rebirth and if those kind of experiences, I think. So that's my only, again, I'm not, this is just my hunch. This is just what I've, in my own research and my self-realization path, have discovered of things that happened to me and why am I like this? Why did I even call you?
I mean, there's no coincidence that, like the place of your death and the place of a rebirth and in like the similar in like the actual physical locations of these places. It's fucking amazing. In Mario, we got to wrap it.
Yeah.
And
You said rebirth. I had to hit.
You had to, and I'm glad you did. And let me check something here. Yeah, we're looking good. So I'm gonna let's put a bow on this. Mario, this has been great. We're getting ready to go on a quest here in a couple days, and I'm sure we'll update as necessary.
That's
the
quest
listeners.
show. We might have to do a quest show.
We'll have to do a quest show.
We got to have our own narrative. No, I'm saying that right now. We're gonna have our own.
I'm gonna be at a festival with the festival fucking magician himself. So I certainly expect, and I'm gonna be open and wide and open to all things on the quest. So thank you for listening, dude. Thanks for doing this again. Appreciate it. What a fun night on the Saucy Daddy Party app. I think we've done it right.
I think you helped me again. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure.
It's crazy shit. Hey, if it resonates, great. If not, leave it at the door.
And leave it at the door. Yeah. So, and to the listeners, thank you. And remember, you can get episode free of advertisements. You can get every episode free of advertisements over at patreon.com/Ryan Singer. You can see me on tour not until December. I've got some dates with 3 buddies of mine. Those are going to be some fucking amazing shows. We're calling that the Goofball Run with Jeff Tate, Billy Wayne Davis, Dave Stone, and myself. I mean, talk about one hell of a comedy show. More info on that soon. And more updates on Mutilation Ranch documentary and the Bridge documentary coming soon, and all that good stuff. And I'm gonna update you on this quest. You bet your sweet tush that you're gonna get updates on that real soon. Mario, what a fucking pleasure. I wonder if I got one more screwdriver in me. I don't know. We'll see. Hey, everybody listening, if I don't see you somewhere, I'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane.